It's my laptop. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So, we are talking about leadership being people who are always in the storm. Most times, leadership is stormy. And that's why it's not for the weak, it's not for the faint hearted. Leadership is tough. It's a tough calling, perhaps it's one of the toughest because it's usually said that thinking is the hardest labor on earth. And they say that only 2% of the people you see around think. 3% think they think, but 95% would rather die than think. But remember, if thinking is the hardest labor, you cannot be a leader if you can't think. And so leadership must be the hardest because leadership entails everything, including strategy, including entrepreneurship, all sorts of things. And so a leader is this person who will always somewhat try to calm storms. You want to be calm during storms, but you want to be also the person who does the calming. Yes, you are calming people. You are calming people in their stormy time, and you are also calming the storm because they expect you to calm the storm. Right now, there is the COVID storm, and leaders have tried all over the world trying to stay relevant and be seen to be acting or at least calming the storms. The question is, where do you stand? Are you part of the people who are crying with the masses, Lord save us, or are you the Lord that is trying to save? You really don't need to be Jesus Christ, but at least in front of your people, you are the beacon of hope. If you show that you're frightened as well, everyone gets frightened. And so, are you this person who will start saying, peace, be still? Or you will cry with everybody? I love two stories I always relate. Two occasions. One, I was crossing the lake from one side to the other, and I had my younger brother. He was still young. He could not swim. I don't know whether nowadays he can swim, but naturally we were swimmers. So, and we were with him. We were crossing, and I could see the storm was coming. Yeah, the storm was brewing, and we were worried. People were worried, but I could see the police officers were just but counting people getting into the boat. We were going to use an engine boat from one side to the other. It was going to be my first time to use an engine boat. I'd used other boats, but not this type. And then the other thing is, it was stormy. It was sure going to be hard in the lake. But then, as we were moving, I kept looking how far we are from the shore, and more so from the destination shore. It was becoming more and more uncertain. At some point, you can't see any side, you are in the middle. But then I had my younger brother, and so I could not show that I'm frightened in any way. It was unacceptable. I had to stay brave and calm and assure him that things are going to be right. In the middle, people started crying. Women were wailing, others were praying, others singing praise and worship. And the person in charge of the boat was very serious and trying his best. I stayed calm. And the only reason I stayed calm was because my younger brother was there. But it was worth it. I kept focusing on where we were going. Shortly before the show, the ship broke up, so we had to finish the remaining bit walking, but at least it wasn't that deep. They were mending it, but we chose to trek the remaining distance because we had crossed already. We were not yet at our beach. Another one is I was crossing from another side, also going to the other side. We were going to fish. It was stormy. It was crazy. The boat was picking water from one side like crazy, and I was the one in charge of throwing water outside. You see, this was another experience altogether. And I've learned that in all this, the people who are in charge always stay calm. If the person in charge of directing the boat gets frightened, everyone is going to be frightened. So The question is, are we going to be those leaders who participate in calming the people, calming the storm? What do we need in order to do this? Number one is focus. We need to be people who are focused. And what do we focus on? Because if we lose focus, then we lose the game, we lose the battle. You can either focus on the storm and get more frightened, get more stressed, get more worried, get lots of fear, in which case no solution will come. If you are going to get a solution, you must not focus on the storm. You must focus on possible solutions to your storm. You must focus on possible solutions to the problem that people are going through, to the crisis, to whatever is happening. And you must be the person who speaks solution. And so, it entails a number of things, which we will rush through briefly. One is there will always be fear. There is a trio that is always working together. It is Mr. Fear, worry, and doubt. Where one is, the rest must also commune. They work together. And so you must take charge of fear. That does not mean you don't feel it. You can feel it, but then you act despite of fear. And that is what we say, you fire the fear. Just tell fear you are fired. You take courage, because you cannot think straight when you have fear. And that can only happen when you focus on the solution. What is the possible solution? What can we do with what we have at the moment? Yeah, you must be somebody who I love saying that fear is very courageous. Fear in itself is very courageous. It doesn't wait for you to invite it. It will always come and bulldoze you. But courage is timid, courage is fearful. You always have to persuade it, to massage it, to seduce it into action. And so it's all within your hands to act despite of fear. And then shortly you will realize that whatever you feared does not exist. I came to learn this. Whatever we fear does not exist. You can relate this with your childhood. When you are walking at night, maybe you feared things. You would imagine that something is following you. You actually heard footsteps. But along the way, as you grow up, you realize that there were actually no footsteps. It was you, your imagination. So you must give hope. Be the person who gives hope. Remember last time we said a leader is a dealer in hope. If a leader does not talk of hope, does not give hope, talks of misery, then everyone is going to feel desperate. No one is going to act. People are going to wait for their death. So we must be people who give hope despite what is happening. And we are told in the Bible, Romans 5 verse 5, that hope does not disappoint. This guy John Mason wrote a book, and these are books you can always find and read, that the impossible is possible. Most of the times whatever we think is impossible is very possible. When you think of flying a plane, flying in the air, people said you can't imagine that. Somebody is going on air to fly there while you cannot even jump. It was impossible. And the Wright brothers were told, stop such dreams, start being realistic. But let me tell you, the impossible is possible. As long as you can dream it, you can visualize it, you can take courage to start acting in faith. We say we act by faith, not by sight. Set up a team. It's always important to have a team. You cannot do everything alone. And remember, you only have so much talent. Look for other talented people. Look for people with whom you can relate. You can work together. Build a strong team. A leader must know how to place team members. You don't place them according to how you relate with them, or whether they are your relatives or friends. You place them according to their capacity. Place people at the best place. You don't have to rotate people, that you are playing number 4, now you can also try number 11, because they don't rhyme. Number 11 is number 11, number 4 is number 4. So find people and place the best foot forward. I remember in 2018, our building was experiencing a crisis. I'm the chairman of the building for homeowners, and we were given a demolition notice. There was some political issue with our developer. Everyone was calling, what's happening? And I had to tell them, everything is going to be fine. We will win this. And by the way, we did. And people came, and we set up a team. We were setting up a strategy team and giving people what they are best at. Whoever is good at media relation, somebody is in charge of that. Whoever is good at something else, they take charge of that. A team is very, very, very important. We must always take charge. We must always ensure that we set up a strong team. Without a team, nothing else is going to work best. I know there are people who like taking credit, leaders who like taking credit. Remember, when you have a team, when you win, it is them who won. When you lose, it is you who lost. So always try to empower your team and appreciate them and affirm them. Always I say, it's good to start with the end in mind. End in mind in that you get to be clear about the solution you want. How do you want it to be? And stop being this typical realistic person. Has it ever been done before? Do I have what it takes? It starts with knowing exactly what you are looking for. If you do not know the solution you're looking for, you will not get it. So whichever the crisis you could be experiencing, your people are going through, what type of solution do you desire? Feed that desire in your heart. If you do not feed that desire, if you are vague about the result you want, you will not get it. This works across the board. So be somebody who knows exactly what is looking for. Then imagination is everything. Start imagining it, how it should be, how it ought to be. Imagine the best outcome. Imagination will always give you strength. And I love saying that imagination is free. Nobody will charge you for it. Nobody will tell you that look at your surrounding first before you imagine. No. You can imagine even swimming when you are experiencing hot sunlight. Imagination is free, and the moment you can place your mind and visualize exactly how things should be, there is an inspiration that is going to come from within you, and somewhat things are going to fall in place, because it's written, the universe conspires to help us achieve our objectives. Or in the Bible it said all things work together for our good. You see, I think it's Romans chapter 8 verse 28. All things work for our good, for the good of those who love God. God in this case means you are in harmony with nature. So be somebody who is creative, who is able to imagine things the way they should be. And that imagination becomes the vision. That is what you share with your team. You tell them, this is what Martin Luther King Jr. talked about. I have a dream. I have a dream that my little daughters will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream. Is sharing the vision, is sharing the dream, and that is what drives every people in every crisis. Jesus painted for us heaven, painted for people heaven, and people started working for it. It is said that this world belongs to dreamers. It belongs to people who can dream, people who can imagine. And as Einstein says, imagination is power. Whatever you can imagine, you will be able to achieve it. And so it comes to this end. Results, this one I said last time, and I love saying it, is given by, result is what we are looking for. It's given by the content of our thought and the activities. The moment we've thought about it and imagined it, we are going to be able to achieve it. We will act on it and be able to achieve. So it means if we are not getting the results that we are looking for, then we must be thinking the wrong thoughts or doing the wrong activities. Every leader must get clear about the result, the end in mind. That is where you start from. And then you check what you are thinking. What you're thinking is always subject to your knowledge. So if you are thinking wrong things, you think you are acting well, you probably are thinking wrong things. This is what we call troubleshooting. So you start by asking yourself whether you really have full knowledge of what is happening. You see, some people think they know COVID. Some people think they know about this vaccine, and they do not want to imagine anything beyond that. And others only feed on social media, or only feed on the TV and everything. We can't do our own research. We can't find our own local solutions because we've exported. I love saying that it's as if even Kenyan doctors and everybody else, scientists, have exported their imagination and creativity and knowledge to a server in the WHO to think for them and give them the result, as if WHO is infallible. We need to be people who can think, people who can create ideas and come up with the expected outcome, and then we start working on it. Somewhat, when you set up a team and you know the results you're looking for, even the right people start falling in place, the right people start coming in. You must remember to inspire your team. If you do not inspire your team, they will fall off. They will not be there. They will be tired. They will be fatigued. I've experienced this. People somewhat get fatigued. And this is why you've got to keep talking about where people are going. Every time things get tough, start imagining, why did you get started? And this is what you share with your team. Why are we here? Why did we get started? Where are we heading to? Have we achieved what we set for? What we set out to achieve? So always get clear about the goals. It will be inspiring. Get clear about the dreams that you wanted to achieve. Get clear about the objectives that you had set when you were getting started, because along the way, somewhat, it's possible that people will lose focus, but you are the one to keep them within focus. You are the one to keep encouraging them and ensuring that people are still on course to achieving what they were meant to achieve, what they had intended to achieve. And that is your role as a leader. You must inspire them. And the other thing is, you must be somebody who can motivate himself. A friend of mine said, if you wait for somebody else to motivate you, you are likely to fail, because what if they don't show up? What if they don't show up? So we must be people who encourage themselves, who motivate themselves. People who know exactly how to motivate themselves. How do you motivate yourself? People do different things. Yeah? Trump said that to motivate himself, he always keep a series of quotes on his desk or on sticky notes. So he reads them. Whenever he's feeling down, he reads them. And he has quotes right from his dad, Fred Trump, who told him, be true to yourself and trust in God. All sorts of things. So he keeps quotes. Other people will read books. Other people will read other things. And as a leader, you must be reading a lot of self-help books and even watching different speakers speak. Otherwise, you will lose energy. We always say you cannot be too busy to feed yourself, feeding your mind, feeding your emotions. Why? Because if you are, you will stop at something. It's like somebody saying that he's too busy to refuel, to take the car to the filling station. The car will be stalled. So you as a leader, and more so if you want to lead during tough times, you must choose the content that gets into your mind, the content that gets into your heart, into your emotions. And that happens because you know how to motivate yourself. You will read the poems, you will read the quotes that you love, you will watch documentaries, you can watch movies that motivate you, the biographies of people who've gone through various tough times and how they overcame it. You must work on all that together in order to be able to motivate yourself. When Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years, he kept reading about a poem called The Invictus. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And something like that. I am a winner. And something. He kept saying things to himself and reading these things. There is also what we call affirmation. Affirmation. You know, they say quitters don't win and winners don't quit. So you must have your own affirmations. Affirmations are statements of truth that you say to yourself. And as you say them, you will start believing them. For example, you can say, I am strong. I am stronger. I will win. We will win this. We can win. We are going to win. We can see the end. The end is coming. We are going to, and you keep speaking the right things to yourself, speaking positive words to yourself. Somewhat they become true. Why? It's written, the word became flesh and dwelt among us. In fact, I want to share with you one poem. It's called Carry On. I didn't paste it here because it's a long, it has a lot of words, but I will read it for you. It's one of those that Brian Tracy, when he was crossing the Sahara Desert, the heat and everything, and where people were dying, and everyone, including the experts, the so-called experts, told him, people die in the desert, you will die in the desert. He didn't die because he kept himself motivated and focused on where he was going. They wanted to drive across the Sahara from North Africa all the way. They were driving actually from Europe to South Africa, and they did it. We must always, even Ineos, this Eliud who, Kipchoge, who was running the Ineos, if you talk to him, he'll tell you the things that he was telling himself. So this is what the poem says. It's easy to fight when everything is right, and you are mad and thrill and the glory. It's easy to cheer when victory is near, and wallow in fields that are gory. It's a different song when everything is wrong, when you're feeling infernally mortal, when it's 10 against 1 and hope there is none. Back up, little soldier, and chortle. Carry on, carry on. There isn't much punch in your blow. You are glaring and staring and hitting out blind. You're muddy and bloody, but never you mind. Carry on, carry on. You haven't the ghost of a show. It's looking like death, but while you have a breath, carry on, my son, carry on. And so, in the strife of the battle of life, it's easy to fight when you are winning. It's easy to slave and starve and be brave when the dawn of success is beginning. But the man who can meet despair and defeat with a cheer, there is the man of God's choosing. The man who can fight to heavens and on height is the man who can fight when he is losing. Carry on, carry on. Things never were looming so black, but show that you haven't a cowardly streak. And though you are unlucky, you never are weak. Carry on, carry on. Brace up for another attack. It's looking like hell, but you never tell. Carry on, old man, carry on. There are some who drift out in the desert of doubt, and some who in brutishness wallow. There are others I know who in piety go, because a heaven to follow. But to labor with zest, and to give of your best, for the sweetness and the joy of the giving, to help folks along with a hand and a song, why, there is the real sunshine of living. Carry on, carry on. Fight the good fight and true. Believe in your mission. Greet life with a cheer. There is big work to do, and that's why you're here. Carry on, carry on. Let the world be the better for you, and at last, when you die, let this be your cry. Carry on, my soul, carry on. Thank you very much. I want to stop there, and if you have a question, you can ask. It's 4 minutes to the time I'm leaving.
Thank you, Peter. Before my colleague comes in to move a vote of thanks, please see 1 minute. Before my colleague comes in, 1 minute, can we have